Global happenings today. We communicate. We analyze global news.
Hello beautiful people, welcome back to our channel. Right now it's getting clearer to all and sundry living in Rivers State in the government of Fubara that all may not be well with what is going on. Though the government of the day, the federal government, did say that they're bringing peace. 6 months marks the suspension and they will restore Rivers back to where it ought to be. Of course, the retired naval officer Ibas believes that he doesn't want to do things outrightly, have decided to go through the processes by presenting 2025 budget in the right manner. But as we speak, it looks like one or some of the people in the government of Fubara have gotten classified and privileged information that is making them to raise this alarm. Of course, just a few hours ago, it was the case of Asabuja doing a lot of permutation and reaction on what may likely be going on. But this time around, is someone from the government of Fubara talking loud. Before going to this, people can subscribe to our channel. And according to the news, Chisom Bali is actually a suspended commissioner for youth development, has alleged that plans are underway for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to extend the state of emergency in Rivers State. Nagbali made this revelation a few hours ago. Rivers has been embroiled in political crisis since Fubara fell out with Wike, his predecessor and current minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT. Both are at loggerheads over the control of the oil-rich state. Now, as at March 18, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu declared a state of emergency in Rivers State and suspended the governor and his deputy and members of the State House of Assembly for 6 months. And the president also appointed a new sole administrator to oversee the state, retired Vice Admiral Ibas, who has already started work. His decision was backed by the National Assembly in a controversial voice vote that has been heavily faulted and generated criticism in the polity. But speaking on the matter as at some few hours ago, Bali noted that the administrator's body language and actions so far confirmed his assertion of a calculated effort to extend the situation beyond 6 months period. He said, and I'm quoting word for word, "Some elements within the state are trying to incite residents into acts of violence that could prompt President Tinubu to prolong the emergency rule. The administrator's body language and actions suggest a calculated effort to extend the situation beyond 6 months." Buttressing his point, the suspended commissioner alleged that Wike and his men are working to ensure President Tinubu make another pronouncement. He mentioned that his administration will prioritize healthcare, education, agriculture, infrastructure, and job creation. Speaking further on the alleged move by the current leadership in Rivers State, Bali said that the rift between Wike and Governor Fubara is a deliberate attempt to disrupt the state governance in preparation for the 2027 elections, adding that Ibas' body language says it all. Bali said, and I quote him again, "If there is any extension whatsoever, it calls for the end of Fubara's administration. They have planned to initiate or institute a sole administrator at the local government level. The former governor and the current minister of FCT and his cohorts, the assembly members and the suspended local government chairman whose tenure elapsed and the governor pronounced the caretaker. These are the people I'm talking about. We know them. The issue of Rivers State is between the former governor and the governor of Rivers State, and because they are more or less perplexed with the achievement of the governor, they want to distort their administration. I am sure all these things is geared towards the 2027 elections." Goodness me, this is really very strong. Of course, the likes of Edison, he have actually talked about how he was offered 5 billion now to coordinate Fubara's impeachment, and a whole lot of people have been saying a lot about it. But then again, in a statement on Wednesday, the chief of staff to the administrator said that the decision was made under the powers granted to Ibas by President Bola Tinubu. So it's really not his fault that he just sat on his seat prepared with milk and honey. Why? If it's me, won't I lick the honey too? My colleague is in the house. Now, one of the suspended commissioner of Fubara is saying something that most Nigerians have suspected before. What's your take?
Well, I think I had reiterated on that. I've talked severally about it because it's not it's not it's not something difficult to do. It's not something difficult to do. As much as Fubara is preparing and very hopeful that the place will be peaceful enough, I personally believe that I'm talking at the extremes of what is happening in River State. If Fubara can preserve the peace of his supporters as much as he can, and not refusing to allow them to maybe show some aggression here and there and all of that, I had expected this, that they may cook up some stuff around, to make sure to make sure that something happened that will kind of tense up River State, so that they can be an extension. Come on, let's tell ourselves the whole truth. Except Ibas is a respectable man who would want to take a walk from that seat when the time comes. But if unfortunately he's been entangled with some of these politicians who are very greedy and wishing to see River State still under the grip of a military administrator, automatically they will do all in their powers. He may not even be in the know, but they will make sure that River State is not peaceful, so that at least Bola Tinubu can have a reconsideration. And that's why also I was talking about the issue of countdown, as much as it's still very long, because we are barely into 1 month of the emergency rule. I think it was on the 18th day of March that the whole thing started. We are barely into 1 month. So starting now to do countdown will be something that you at the point you may be wearied over, you get tired of it. But however, at a particular point, they need to start doing countdown so that the president will be in the know. I'm shocked that Fubara himself is not granting interviews, because he should be granting interviews so that Nigerians will know that he's still existing. And people should have, even the presidency will have it in his mind that whatever he had done is outside the provision of the Constitution. And then let's see where it goes from there, because unfortunately, with this kind of, if this allegation is actually true, then we're going to see Fubara wait forever.
Don't you think that the reason why Fubara is not talking is simply because he doesn't want to be indicted? Because at some point, when you start granting interviews, give it to journalists, they can tweak and twist your mouth, and bloggers will tweak and twist the topic. At the end of the day, it becomes inciting, and he put himself more into trouble. There's sometimes they say silence is golden. Do you think at this point silence could be termed as golden?
Silence is not golden when what belongs to you have been taken away from you. There is no way on earth that silence is golden at that point. Check the Holy Bible, you will see it there. When they packed the wives of David and his army people away, when he came back, he started crying and wailing. After as he was crying and wailing, the people started crying with him. But at the point, the people were like, "You are the cause of all these things." Until when he now asked for the brotherhood, and then God gave an instruction. Whenever something belongs to you, God will not tell you, "Sit down and watch." You've got to do something to show that I'm not happy that this thing has slipped off my hand. But when you are at a state of relaxation, we are not saying go on rampage. But if something is wrong, open your mouth and tell the people that this thing is wrong. This is the provision of the Constitution. You have people who can give you full details of the Constitution. He's an educated my chartered accountant for that matter, a fellow for that matter, fellow in chartered accountancy of Nigeria. Come on, open your mouth and talk and say this is the situation of God. I am very unsettled about this, because if it has been done to me, someday it will be done to us. We must do everything to prevent any unconstitutional move by not just the president alone, every other person. Even me, I can't do that. Cannot wake up and sack this thing or suspend the local government chairman. These things are very important. Whenever the good people keep their mouth shut, that saying we're okay with the status quo. That's exactly the situation here.
All right, but then we've noticed that the likes of Ugochinyere Ikenga is no longer talking on the issues of Rivers State.
Ugochinyere Ikenga is not the governor of Rivers State.
All right, that's a good wrap it up. Let's listen to